I wanted to make a short video here about installing the Rago fabrication ditch light brackets that mount under the hood. This is a second gen 2015 Tacoma. Pretty easy so far. Done this side already. As you can see, it's installed. Looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna also show you how to do the passenger side, and I will show you how I ran my lights too. It's pretty simple on the truck, so just save you some time and see where I did it. So on the passenger side, what we're gonna do first off, this washer fluid hose guide, clamp, whatever you want to call it, we need to get it out of the way. And it's really simple. You just squeeze these ears on both sides. You can see that. And then you just push it through. So I'll squeeze. It's easier with both hands, obviously. All right, I'm gonna have to do it with both hands. Hold on real quick. Okay, I got the ears pushed through, so I'm just gonna pop it out like so. Just kind of pull it out of the way for a minute while we're working. And first thing we're gonna do now is, or next thing we're gonna do, this top bolt, we're gonna take it all the way out, and you're gonna leave this one tight. Don't mess with it yet. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and I'll be right back. So I went ahead, since it was easier with two hands, I went ahead and pulled the bolt, and then take your bracket, and you're gonna put the top part of the bracket on there, obviously. Go ahead and you're gonna leave it off to the side so you can still get to your bottom bolt, and tighten this one up pretty tight. I mean, not as tight as you're gonna get it finished, but you want it tight enough where this hood's not gonna move around on you, so you don't have to realign your hood later, because that's a pain in the butt. So I got it pretty dang tight. You can still move this bracket because you have plenty of leverage, as long as it is, to pull it over. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this bottom bolt out, and then we're gonna swing the bracket over to line it up with the hole. And then once we do that, we'll put the bolt back in and tighten it up, and you'll be done. This is a 12mm bolt, just so you know. And I found on the other side it makes it easier if you line this bolt up at the very top of the hole. You can see the holes are kind of oblong, so you got some adjustment. Just kind of take a look before you tighten this one down up top, and just make sure it looks like this is going to swing over and be in line with that hole. That way you don't have to start over. And again, make sure this one's pretty snug so you're not having to move your hood around later. And I'm going to go ahead and swing that over, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to try to do this so you can see, and hopefully my camera doesn't fall over. So I got this bolt loosened up. Gonna pop it out. Like I said, I got this one pretty tight. So what we're gonna do now is just grab the top of the bracket and just swing it over, like so. And you're gonna reinstall your bolts. You do reuse your bolts here, so. All right, now I'm just gonna tighten that up with the socket and with the ratchet, and then we'll be ready to install our lights. Oh, also, you're gonna wanna probably zip tie this washer fluid hose. You can't really get it back through the hole, the bolt's in the way. So what I'll probably do is just take this off and just run a zip tie through it just to hold it there. That way it's out of the way and not getting pinched between the hinge. And we'll go from there. Okay, I got the lights installed. Had to, on these hood mounted brackets, had to end up cutting this bolt a little bit shorter for my mounting for my light. It was too long, it was hitting the hood. So I just cut about 3/8 of an inch off of it or so. Ended up being just about right. Got the wires all zip tied to the bracket, coming down inside and around. Kind of got them routed here for the moment to try to avoid the hinge. Other side, I ran the wires between the two lights up through the actual hood itself. There's a channel that runs across there, you can see, and then you can pop right back out right here. have my lights the same over here, have the zip ties coming down from my KC light, and then I also, like I said, I zip tied the washer fluid hose here, and then I went ahead and just, my connectors are pretty big, so I just went ahead and zip tied it to the line here for now. I may do something different with that later. I didn't really want it sitting here in the tray area. So what I did for power and everything for these lights, I have a 2015 TRD Sport. Doesn't have heated seats or anything, so I went ahead and tied into the heated seat circuit. And if you get into the fuse box here, you can see this, like I said, is pretty rough right now. I'm just finishing up for the evening. It's kind of starting to get chilly and I'm losing my daylight, so I didn't want to just hook straight to the battery. I really don't like doing that. So I went ahead and hooked into the heated seat circuit, and if you can see there, it's an empty 50 amp spot, and all I did is put a blade connector on it, a female blade connector, and there's a blade down in there that you can hook right to, and the lights are already protected by a fuse here. And I did not do a relay. These are KC lights, and the packaging instructions do not say to use a relay. It shows to do direct connection. You may want to do relay if you want to. I don't think it's necessary. They only pull 1 amp a piece, according to the information on their website, so it's not substantial at all. I think any normal dash switch would handle 10 amps easily, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. I guess I'll see how that goes. And then I also grounded the whole thing here, where the battery is grounded. I just popped this bolt out. I think it was a 10 millimeter if I remember right, and just used an actual, just one of the hoop connectors on the end of the ground and hooked right here. And then to get to my switch, like I said, this is pretty gnarly right now. I have a bunch of extra wire from the kit. I just poked through this big firewall grommet. It's pretty easy. There's a main rubber piece around the outside of the wires, and then there's kind of a void around the whole thing, and you can feel it with your finger. There's a pretty good opening there, and all I did is took a piece of baling wire and just kind of chopped it on the end where it was sharp and just poked it through. Kind of angle it away from your wires. I actually did this from the inside, so it was a little easier, I thought, that way, because you can get a little better angle on it. But just make sure you poke, whichever way you do it from, make sure you poke your wire where you're not jamming it into your existing wires, because you don't want to mess any of that stuff up, obviously. So in the truck, Rago Fabrication sells the factory switches that fit in here, so I went ahead and just did the ditch light switch here, and it just pops right in there. It does have 4 wires in the back, and it'll show you on the little card that comes with the wires which is which. But one of the wires, I think it's red number 2, you have to have power for it to light up the switch, basically. And so let me see, I did an ADA circuit here with a fuse, a fused ADA circuit, and tied in there, and it's kind of dark, I know. There's a 15 amp, a 7.5 amp, and then a 10 amp, and then there was an empty spot next to it, right next to that fuse, and it shows here, stop recording button. So if you look on here, it shows that's just an empty spot. Well, it just so happens I was testing it with my my test light, and it's only on when that circuit's only illuminated or only powered whenever the lights are on. So your park lamps or your headlights. So which was perfect, because you don't really want the switch illuminated unless it's dark. It does illuminate whenever you turn them on, but it's dimmer whenever the lights are on. So it just kind of, you can see it. So if you look there, it's a little better view. Just did the ADA circuit right there. Between the 10 and the 15, you can kind of see there, and that worked perfectly. And I just tied that to my switch wires and ran it out through the firewall. And then down here, like I said, you can kind of see here, I just poked them through that grommet and just zip tied them a few places so they don't get in the way. You don't want to get them pinched if you hit the emergency brake. Sometimes if you get wires through there, you can shear them off, and then just ran it up to the switch from there. Worked out pretty easily, and so far seems to be working fine. The switch does illuminate when it's on, when it's off, and if I turn the headlights on, you can see it's a dimmer light. And then once you have that done, you're all set. Just kind of wanted to show you the ATA circuits in case you've never seen one. Pretty simple. I just buy them on Amazon, and they're just these ATA circuit fuse tap adapters, and they just allow you basically to plug in. You can see on the bottom here. You get it open here, they just allow you to plug into an existing fuse. That one was empty, so I didn't have to have two fuses in there, but if that was an existing circuit that was being used, you can put another fuse in here so you can still use that circuit and then piggyback off of it with your pigtail here. So pretty easy to do. And then one other thing I was going to say, make sure whenever you get these zip tied, close the hood slowly the first time and just kind of watch where these go, because you don't want them to get in between here and cut your brand new wires in half. But pretty happy with them. I can't wait till it's dark to try them out. And I apologize, this video is kind of thrown together last minute, so hope I covered everything. Appreciate you watching, and like and subscribe if you don't mind, and have fun doing your lights.